Hi, welcome. Take a deep breath. I'm so happy to be here doing this work for you. I have already charged and cleansed and shuffled your cards and drawn them and done a little channeling. And now I'm going to interpret those cards for you. And as I do, I might be getting additional messages too. So I have my notes here and I have the cards in front of me. And I have the most important thing, which is your attention on this video and your intention in watching it is a huge part of how you receive the truth of the reading. So if you feel called to, you can create a sacred space to listen to this reading and to watch it. You may have to watch it a couple times. You may have to take breaks. This is energetic work for you. So the more you lean into the truth of that, the more calories you burn. So just keep that in mind. If you want to create some kind of space, don't listen to this while you're driving. Try to give it the attention that it deserves in order for you to receive the full potent truth of the reading. So become energetically receptive in whatever way you can. I have a lot of good news to share with you. And I feel like I'm getting such a feel for your energy through this. So I'm really excited. I'm going to get into the cards. Unless there's anything else I need to tell you. Nope, you're ready. So I do it in kind of a intuitive spread. So it's not exactly like anything. But I'm also channeling while I'm interpreting them. So it might be useful to just release any expectations you have and just listen to the process for you. Not that I imagine you find me to be an organized person. Okay, so your first cards I drew from the moon deck. And as soon as I did, I was like, oh my gosh, there's tea. This was your first card of the reading. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Full moon in Capricorn. So, the end of a tough cycle approaches. That means you're still in it, boo. I am so sorry. But it's almost over. It's almost over. And the moon is full. It's like you did it. You have to achieve full moons. You know what I mean? You have achieved that. And it's almost over. And then I got you a first quarter moon, which is telling me that your commitment is being tested. And that's when I started to think, is this like about a relationship? Because, and it may not be a relationship like a romantic relationship, but someone in your life is maybe getting at you or something. Like there's some kind of there's some kind of conflict, and it could even be you. It could be your energies, but there is some kind of like you versus them, like you versus the world, or this person represents the world, some kind of dynamic like that. But your commitment is being tested in that you kind of chose this for yourself. So I'll move on to this one because it says nothing will come of this situation, which is to say you might be afraid that something's going to kind of like blow up in your face. Like the message I'm kind of getting is like, oh, well, if I show up with integrity, then the reaction to my integrity will be insulting or something. And what I'm hearing is like, oh, if I am my authentic self, then people feel more permissioned to judge me. And so I'm going to receive more judgment or something like that. And that might be in a relationship where if you're afraid to show up as your authentic self, because you fear that your authentic self won't be received well. And so you kind of make the assumption that it won't be received well. But it's like this argument that you're having, Like, nothing comes of this. It's some kind of little drama. It's like a side, it's like, get this out of the way before we do the rest of the reading, because this is a thing. But when I get a void of course moon, I'm like, what's the course? So I got a clarifying card, and it's the Queen of Wands. And the resounding message that I got when I drew this was, she's too stubborn. She's too stubborn. I don't know what that means to you, or if it means anything at all. It could be talking about a boat. You know what I mean? I don't know who she is. It could be talking about you, someone from your dreams. Or it could be a relationship in your life. I don't know. I'm so curious about that. But I just drew that clarifying card. I'm not going to get in your business. I'll just tell you a little bit about your business. So after I got some of that relationship vibes, I decided to go for my relationship deck, just in case there's something going on. But when I did that, I got all of these messages, or this feeling of like your relationship to spirit and your relationship to your higher self. So that could be what the moon cards are talking about, is like you're having this conflict with your higher self. I don't know. The clarifying message was, she's too stubborn. So it like, that kind of confuses me. But in your relationship cards, look what you got. This is so wild. First of all, you got separation, which what I heard from this was that you need me time. I don't know who you need me time from, or if there is anyone to need me time from, but really you're the only one who can give it to you. So if you're taking time to yourself, but it's not me time, you're wasting your time. You know what I mean? Which this could be your spiritual work. Maybe you need to like step away from your relationships for a little bit so that you can do some spiritual work, or like angels are calling and you are sleeping still because you're engaging with these relationships instead of engaging with your higher self. Interesting. That was kind of a roast, sorry. And then the next card was healing family issues, which like, what? So, you know, I don't know anything about your life. That's like some super tea. But then the description on this card is, your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. And I don't know what that relationship is for you. I just want to remind you that forgiveness is not required for healing at all. And these may not even be like your parents. So it could be something along the lines of, it's just trying to tell me that you're healing family issues and it doesn't have anything to do with your parents. Or it could be about you learning to reparent yourself and maybe thinking about and studying ways that you can do that. Not just in knowing about reparenting, but like Googling it and finding a practice that sounds good to you and then integrating that reparenting practice into your daily spiritual work or something like that. That's kind of what Spirit's telling me. And there may also be some actual conflict in your family. I don't know. But if there is, there's good news coming, because the rest of the spread is about to like light you the fuck up. And then pay attention to the red flags. So, and in this card, there's a lot of symbology. Also, kind of like synchronicities, ghosts, paranormal experiences, meeting people that do magic out in the world, finding yourselves on little quests. There's like magic going on with you right now. And the signs are cautioning you away from something. And you know what it is. Because you're putting a lot of those signs there for yourself too. And we'll talk about this as we go, but your energy kind of just really isn't super concerned about whether or not you get hurt. Like, you're like, red flags, I don't know, like, whatever. Like, I'm gonna let destiny handle that. There's like something that's like, I can only be so cautious, so I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And that's fine. But maybe there's a situation where there is an option now to exercise your red flag seeing ability so that you can continue to live that way and get hurt less. Which, we're gonna get into that. So I'm gonna move into your tarot, even though it's not the order that I drew it in. because it's really speaking to me that this is kind of like your overall like trajectory, like where you're going in life. And the first thing is strength. You have a lot of strength. You have some maximum like cat energy, which there's like kind of this creature energy about you. Like in this strength card, you are the lion, which is it's like when you're at the circus, which fuck the circus, but if you're like looking at a drawing from the 1918, there's someone with like their head in a lion's mouth and they're like prying it open in the sketch. And what they're saying by doing that is they're saying, I am but a mere mortal, like, and I can take on nature in this way. So it's like the symbol of strength is not the person that's prying open the mouth of the lion. That person is just trying to say that they have the ability to survive this strength, which is from the earth, it's from nature, it's from Africa, it's original, it's the strength, you know what I mean? And your creature energy in this is like, you participate in being tame, like you have tamed yourself in order to kind of like be in the world, but you know that you have an impressive amount of energy to draw on in order to show up in the world, and you have a lot of confidence about that. But there's some blockages. We're going to talk about it when we do the unicorn deck, but I want you to know that confidence does exist within you, even if it doesn't feel like it all the time, and we can talk about why. And then in your overall, you got 10 of Cups. I'm going to take some water. There's so much coming through for you. It's like, so 10 is completion. 10 of Cups is like the best fucking card. It's so good for you. There's a sense of achievement. There's a sense of being home. There's a sense of having built a family, like the values of overflowing 10 of Cups. Like there's like a bountiful sense of happiness and fulfillment. And it feels like that's what you're kind of in right now. It feels like you are happy. But here's the next card. It feels like the Hierophant, discipline, structure, dogma. There's like this feeling that you have a really rigid idea of what happiness is right now, maybe. Like, you've got a really great routine or something. Or like there's an aspect of your life that you are like really mastering that's kind of like Saturnian and maybe like masculine a little. And you have the capacity for spirit. You are waiting for your cup to be filled. But you kind of got to loosen up a little. You're just like you're too straight-laced for how wild you are. And that might like, you might already feel like you're kind of wild, but it's like, you have the capacity to be so wild. So this Knight of Swords it came out on its own as a clarifying card. And the Knight of Swords is like, I don't give a fuck. Let's go to battle. Let's fight. Like, and, really like a messenger of loyalty and duty. And it feels like you have like a real desire to move on from a place of kind of like discovering what you're capable of. And now you kind of have discovered what you're capable of and you're ready to run with it. And when I say run with it, it's like there's somewhere, you don't know where you're running yet. Like, yeah, I know what I can do. Where do I go with this? Like, what is this for, essentially? So there's some kind of like energy or some kind of chapter of your life that's coming up for you right now. And you're feeling like really anxious for it. And there's some blockages to you really embodying it. And one of those blockages is your sense of perfectionism or your religious dogma and your religious training, either implicit or explicit, about what it means to be godly and what it means to be connected to spirit and what it means to have a beautiful, magical life. And you're a little lonely for that. You're like a little lonely for a sense of connection, but it's not love. It's like connection with spirit. It's like real, like tapped in, not just like, I know how magical I am, I feel how magical I am. And that's what you're after, and that's what you're on your way to. And here, I haven't even looked at my notes. It's all just coming. In your 7 of clubs. So this is kind of how I have to read it as a whole thing. It's like really not individual. But it's like there is a great flood coming. You feel very uneasy about something. This is like a feeling of deception and this is also, I mean, I don't know what it says about, like, this is like a Bible story, you know what I mean? So the Bible story is that Noah gets the divine knowledge to build the ark. They put, 2 of each animal on the ark. And on this ark, they forgot the unicorns, which, like, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a slapstick joke. Like, oh, we forgot the unicorns. They did exist, but we didn't get them onto the ark. But this is really telling me, like, one of these blockages that is spiritual is that you feel like your identity as a spiritual person has been forgotten. And you are tasked with the responsibility of reminding people. But it is isolating. But connecting with nature and connecting with your ancestors is going to make it so much easier. And they're really waiting. They're like, yeah. And they know what's up. Like, you're pretty tight. I feel. And then what this is telling me is that you have kind of you've mastered something. And it's like, you're like kind of successful, like, like you're doing okay. Like, you're kind of a catch, you know what I mean? Like, you have have mastered a sense of earthly abundance that is like satisfactory for what you need or something. And it's not necessarily like, that's not to say that it's like you have made investments in being a stable person. And that's paying off in how you're able to show up in the world. Maybe. I don't know. I never know if this is true or not until you tell me. And then right after this, oh, this is so interesting. I'm actually going to look at my notes now. Oh, the 7 of clubs is also romantic anxiety. It's like anxious about romance or like something. Yeah, so, which is like funny to read that. But yeah, it feels like you're like kind of feeling nervous about leaning into opening yourself up in that way. And you would feel better if you could remind yourself of all of these incredible things about you that are true. But without actual belief that they're true, you cannot embody them. And you won't actually believe they're true until they're tested. So you might be getting tested a little right now. So the 5 of clubs. What this is really telling me is you have a huge capacity to caretake, and that might just be your life. I don't think you should be like upset about that, about yourself. Like, that's an amazing quality. But it's like, if you're a fucking like badass fairy living in the woods with all these magical powers, and you're riding around on a horse with a parrot on your arm, like, you're not with your family. You're not with your soul family. But if you're this magical fairy living in the woods and you're on a fucking unicorn wearing flowers and you have like a tiny dragon on your arm, like, you're in the same universe. So your caretaking in this, you know, fantasy realm is reciprocated, because you all know how to communicate telepathically and magically, so you can take care of each other in the way that you can see when someone is hurting, and you can smell it, and like, you can feel it, and you're like, this person needs me, and this is what this person probably needs me to do. Let me check in around that. Like, your ability to do that, it would serve you to find someone else who can also do that, because otherwise, and those people exist, you know what I mean? They didn't get left behind on the ark. They are around, and they're waiting for your connection. But you have to clean out some other relationships first. You have to take out the trash. There's like some stuff draining your energy. And then, oh man, this is a really powerful reading, by the way. We're gonna do, this is the last set of cards. Shaman of Tradition, Dancer of Joy, the Journeyer. Could you get any more psychic? Don't do impressions during your tarot videos, Britt. We talked about this. Okay. I love that this song came on. So, the Shaman of Tradition. What I'm really feeling called to tell you about this is that you know this. This is not news. You have a really powerful family. Like, your DNA is super, super, super potent. And your lineage has sent a lot of packages to your door. So they set stuff up for you before you were born. They were like, they had so much access to that stuff. They were like, yeah, let me just take care of my descendant real quick. And sent you like abundance. And there is something in your tradition, in your faith, in your family, like a holiday or a practice or maybe music or something. There's something that will connect you in such a way that you can receive. I mean, the blessings are in your life, but the message I'm getting is use your tradition to connect and receive these things from us. Which is like so powerful to transmit to you. So I'm very blessed by that. And then Dancer of Joy. And so this, when I saw this and I started putting all this energy stuff together, I'm like, you just have all this high energy, and you embody your embodiment, like you feel things, and you are kind of on earth, like you are really kind of earthy. And you know, some of us like go up here to go get our spiritual information. You go down here to get it. And that is something that is it comes easily to you because of where you're from and who you are and who your soul is and where you've been in your past lives and in your lineage. and you just have a lot of joy. You have like this root chakra sense of connection to the earth that you can tap into and energize yourself with. You have a very active sacral. That is your playful center, is your sacral. You have a huge capacity to laugh and make other people feel amazing. Yeah, you have like a true sense of joy. That's a beautiful blessing for you. And then the Journeyer. So this is a Querent card, which means this is you. You're the Journeyer. And what I got when I saw this was, you know, squirrel, you're here to do a lot of things here and there, but it's like you're also an explorer, and you are going to go into nooks and crannies and look behind curtains and open little boxes, and your destination really isn't that important to you, and that's kind of fine. Like, that's a part of your identity for a reason, because you're a journeyer. You are a Knight of Swords in a way, so, and a King of Diamonds. Okay, what's the message about the Journeyer? Oh, about the squirrel. So I listened to this podcast called Ghost of a Podcast. It's so good. It's an astrology podcast. And the host talked about Alyssa Lanyadoo. Talked about what a squirrel does. And my medium had just compared me to a squirrel in our session. And she was talking about how squirrels jump from tree to tree to travel. But they're still squirrels, even though they're on a different tree. That was like a useful metaphor from my medium. And then the next day, I'm listening to Ghost of a Podcast, and Alyssa Lanyadoo, I'm not actually sure if that's their name. I'll have to fact check and put it in the description. But she was talking about squirrels, and she was saying that a squirrel doesn't have a little chart. This might not be exactly what she said, but I'm paraphrasing based on the energy of it. Like, a squirrel doesn't go row by row planting seeds like it's a pumpkin patch. Like, the agricultural strategy of a squirrel is not to, create an orchard of trees. The agriculture strategy of a squirrel is to do what it does, which is hide nuts for later. That's what they do. And they are really focused on like, woo, I found a nut. And they're like, oh, better go save it for later. And then they bury it and then they forget. And they're like, oh, I found a nut. And that's how forests are made. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't be so hard on yourself about this kind of like here, there, everywhere energy. Because it is a part of how you create divinity in the world. So relax. You can drop into your joy. You can connect to the earth. Your ancestors are playful and waiting, and there's a lot of healing there for you too. And part of your healing is not necessarily as much like you're on earth, like you embodying your joy as who you are and just sending that energy back and being like, hey, I'm your descendant, I'm doing really well, and just like honoring and worshiping your ancestors for getting you here and caring for you. If you send that energy back, that is a way of healing. And you are able to do that when you drop into your joy and when you dance. So, yeah, my overall like diagnosis suggestion, you may have to make some tough decisions in your relationship life. Prepare yourself, journal about it. It could be something as easy as like letting go of someone that ghosted you. You know what I mean? It could not be like cutting someone out of your life or, having mercy for someone in your family right now, having grace for someone in your family right now, which isn't easy to do. But you have a lot of divine protection and support if you choose that path. And, if there is some stubborn energy about growing into who you really are and being yourself, whoever is not around for that and isn't like subscribe to like you being yourself, they don't belong there. You know what I mean? Which is so hard to hear. But it's like you're not going to know until you express yourself in your fullest. So that's what's so exciting, is that you're really moving into that. So find a self-expression practice. Maybe something like writing or painting or dancing, publishing maybe some content or something, finding a divination practice. There was also a lot of messages about leaning in your tradition. So yeah, there's something about, I'm trying to give you like a spell to do, but I can't give it to you. The spell exists it's yours, it's not mine. So it's like, I don't even know what it would be, but there are breadcrumbs to it. There are signs leading to it right now that are trying to lead you in the right direction. So just really listen to signs right now. Yeah. So listen to signs right now, express yourself in a creative way, get really creative right now. You have a lot of energy for it. And do some kind of joy gratitude practice. If you want to do like a gratitude, I keep getting dance. If you do ecstatic dance, that's like how I dance. There's something dancey that is waiting for you. So yeah, get some of that spiritual energy moving around. See if you can communicate back in time. I think you can. I'm really excited for you. I will not pull any more cards for you, but if you want some clarification on any of this stuff, or if you have any feedback for me, feedback makes me a better reader, and I would love to hear if any of this resonated with you. I'm like totally 100% just telling you what I think and feel, and so if any of it resonates, that would be really impressive. And you're on a great journey right now. You are like, I commend you on your adventurousness. I think it's really fun for you. And I'm so happy for you. I'm sending you lots and lots of love.